For the third week in a row, we are here with the Talent Factory 5 Leopard Championship. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, here we have 5 Leopards ready for you. We will start things off here at Silverstone. We will start every event with a one-shot qualifying followed by a 5 Leopard race. That will be repeated 7 times over, and the driver with the most points at the end of the 8 events will go home with a €20 PSN card, and that card will be handed out tonight. The drivers now have the chance to pick their setups for the one-shot qualifying session and for the 5-lap race, and we will get underway shortly. Else, we are still waiting for all drivers to choose their setups. 26 seconds before we start the 5-lap event around Silverstone. And the first 5-lap event that has been streamed on the channel also featured a race here at Silverstone. And that was a chaotic race with a lot of great overtakes by the drivers. And hopefully we'll see that once again tonight as we get underway for qualifying here at Silverstone. Let's turn on the telemetry and lap data as we follow around Mika in his Williams. He's currently P7, but no real braking zones as of yet. Let's go on board with the Williams driver. Oh, he almost loses control of his Williams already. Not the best first sector for Mika. Coming out of Aintree and on towards the Wellington Straight. Down towards Brooklands he goes, and the first sector is a 27.591, currently P8. Shazut Tom is currently P1. Bolin is switching positions with him all the time, and Lechen also joins that fight for pole position around Silverstone. Now through Cups Mika goes in his Williams car. Flat to the floor. And let's go on board with the driver who is at the top. And that is Tom. Let's spectate Tom for a moment. In his AlphaTauri, he is currently on pole position, on course to take pole position. Exiting that second sector, 102.9. Through Stowe, nice, but he misses the apex slightly. Lechen is ahead of Tom, coming into the Vale chicane. Tom is falling down the order, P3 now, but crossing the line on pole is MXL, and a lot of drivers really close. The standings just moved around a little bit after all drivers crossed the line. So let's look who has taken pole position. Is MXL with 126.336. 5/100ths faster than Modestrol, and then in P3 is Rudy in the McLaren, then it's Lechen Tom. These names, I have to learn how to pronounce these names. Let's call him Golo, because the last 4 letters are Golo. So P6 for Golo, P7 for Bolin, Mika P8, P9 is for Frankie, and P10 is from Santeri. Almost Valtteri, fellow Finnish driver by the looks of things. And we are ready for the 5-lapper here around Silverstone. And expected will be that the drivers will take the soft tire. No worrying about tire degradation for only 5 laps around the Silverstone circuit. And in 12 seconds we get underway for the first 5-lapper. The first out of 8 races tonight. 3, 4, 5 lights on now. And it's a good start for the Red Bull. He has immediately taken P1, and the Haas is side by side with the McLaren of Rudy. Modestrol in P2. Rudy now in P2 is on the outside. And can he take P2 from the Haas driver. The Haas of Modestro forces Rudy wide, but Rudy still on the inside now, coming on towards the Wellington Straight, and Ismax is leading the Grand Prix. Modestro in P2, still side by side with McLaren. Now McLaren goes for the inside. Rudy still side by side with the Haas, and now I think the Haas does have the position. Letchen and Tom are battling it out. Oh, the AlphaTauri almost loses control, but he keeps it well on track. Two Mercedes going side by side. Ian and Kaya in towards Cops, and it looks like Ian is ahead for the moment. It is Ismax from Modestro, from Rudy, Letchen, Tom and Bolin, your top 6. Then it's Golo, Frankie, Damiano and Ian. And the top 10 still really close, but Ismax in the lead is making a gap. Almost 1 second already, and over 1 second already. Rudy is on the rear of Modestro. This is the apex there at the Vale chicane, and loses a little bit of time to the Haas driver. Bolin, Tom, Letchen, all within 2 to 3 tenths of each other. And the thing is, Modestro has already lost the DRS from Ismax. Momentarily went into that 1 second gap, but he is already out of it. Kaya has spun around in the Mercedes at turn 2, as well as Axe in the Ferrari, and Mika seems to have problems as well. So 3 cars off there, and Julian also didn't have the best run through that first sector, so he's in P17. Steven Osh with a time penalty. You might have seen that notification at the top side of your screen. 1.2 seconds now, the gap between Modestro and Ismax. Angolo is really close behind the Aston Martin of Bolin. Still no DRS activated. DRS will be activated in lap 3. So not a lot of overtakes as of yet, but you can just see the pace between these drivers. All drivers are on very similar pace. But Ismax really in a league of his own already. 1.2, almost 1.3 seconds to Modestro in P2. Damiano now really close to Frankie. Both TF drivers can battle it out here on track as the DRS is now enabled. And it is crucial for Modestro to get back into that DRS range, but it doesn't look like he is able to do that. No, he can't. Still. And there is an attack from the Alpine of Santeri. He went on to attack Ian in the Mercedes. Let's go on board with the Alpine. Can he make a move to the left-hand side? No, he can't make a move at Brooklands. He remains behind the Mercedes of Ian. Yellow flag, sector 1. It's once again the the Ferrari of Axe, and Axe has DNF'd from this race. So he's out through cups, almost flat out. Might just see a little bit of a confidence lift from a few drivers. Luca Marco. Looks like Marco might have some problems in his McLaren because he's not taking the lines that he should. Rudy and Modestro. Modestro doesn't have any ERS whatsoever, so Rudy might be able to set up an attack on lap 4 or on the final lap. We have seen that final lap overtake multiple times in these 5 lappers 2 weeks ago when the event was streamed as well. And we will try to stream this event every time that it is taking place. And we have found a second commentator for the times that I am not able to commentate. So hopefully the event can be streamed every time it happens. It takes place. Frankie really close to Golo in the Haas. Touches the rear. Marco, what has Marco done? I think Marco has spun. Yeah, on the Wellington Straight, maybe coming out of turn 4. Mika also problems for him. Ian has a 2-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Let's go on board with Rudy, because I think Rudy might have a chance to overtake from Modesto. Rudy himself doesn't have a lot of ERS as well, but can he now make the overtake on the Haas, or will he remain behind the Haas? He will remain behind the Haas for now. So this is a little bit of a strategy as Rudy goes wide, takes a warning probably, doesn't get the time penalty. Marco is causing some yellow flags down at Cops, and now into Megas and Beckett's. This is a big gap between Joey and Davey in P12, 3.2 seconds, you can see it on the minimap. So probably some guys are battling out some positions there, and that causes a big gap between Davey and Joey. Now Bolin, Tom, Letchen, all really close. Tom doesn't have any ERS left whatsoever as well, and you can just see second up until 6th position, all very close behind each other. And a good run for the Aston Martin. Down towards Cops they go. Can Bolin go down towards the outside? No, he can't. There's a little bit of contact. A big moment of contact between Bolin and Tom, and they are both out of contention for any points here. And Rudy now is on the rear of Modestrol. Can he now make the overtake work? Modestrol is not defending this position as of yet. Now he is. He goes down towards the inside. Can Rudy go down the outside? No, he can't. He is still on the outside. Doesn't take a track limit, doesn't take a penalty, and there's more contact between Modestrol and Rudy. And you can just see the Ferrari of Letchen now wants to profit from. Oh no, he spins! Letchen has spun around, still finishes in P4. Rudy and Modestrol were battling it out. There was no room whatsoever for Letchen. Modestrol has taken P2, Rudy has taken P3, and Ismax, dominant performance from him, has taken P1. And is the victor here in this first 5-lapper at Silverstone. A great victory from the Red Bull driver by a distance, 2.1 seconds and 12 thousandths in the end between Modestrol and Rudy. That might have to be looked into by the stewards, but I'm not sure about that and what they think themselves over that racing. Will it be sent in by one of the drivers? We will see after the event. But Ismax has taken P1, Modestrol P2, P3 for Rudy, your top 3, and then it's Letchen, Golo, Damiano, Santeri, Davey, Ian, and Frankie, your top 10. Fastest lap goes to Ismax, and he takes 26 points from this first race at Silverstone. Out of points, Joey, Steven, Bolin, after a moment of contact between him and Tom, Julian, Kaya, Luca, Rosman. Tom was already said he's in P17. Marco in P18, P19 for Mika Axe has retired. He's in P20, the Frenchman. And we will move on to the second race in this event. And we will know in just a few seconds what event, what race that will be. And it will be Bahrain by the looks of things. Championship standings are equal to the results that we saw out of that first race, because it was the first race of the season. Also, Bahrain has featured in the first event, the first week, this 5-lapper event took place, and a lot of great maneuvers, great actions have been made by some drivers, and we fully expect the same thing here. And most of those actions happened on the final lap of the Grand Prix. So I expect the same thing to happen today. N'Golo, says FPR Francie in the chat. N'Golo. So we'll try to pronounce it like that. Qualifying for the Grand Prix at Silverstone, all drivers were within 4/10 of each other, and that's really close for the top 12. Silverstone is a track where a lot of drivers are within a small margin. So I expect the difference between the drivers a bit bigger here at Bahrain. But we will find out in 10 seconds who will take pole for the Bahrain 5-lapper. The drivers have selected their setups, and we will now start the Bahrain qualifying. Once again, we're on board with Mika. Let's go on board with Rudy. He was on it in Silverstone, finishing P3 in the end. He would want to get a bit of a better result here at Bahrain, and we know he is able to get that result. He's P3 at the moment, but we have only had 3 corners as of yet, so a lot of things might still change. Rudy in P5 now, first sector, 27.862, taking full curbs in that S section after the first sector timing. Now out of turn 9, or down towards turn 9 and turn 10. The double left-hander where it's so easy to lock up the left front. But Rudy seems to get through turn 10 without locking his tires, well, without locking his brakes, causing flat spots on his tires. Goes a bit wide though out of turn 11. He's now in P6. That moment where he went wide caused a lot of loss of time. And now the final sector for Rudy, he's in P7. Axe and Luca Rosman have retired. Out of the final corner, Rudy now comes in his McLaren. He's P6. Can he improve one more position? P5 coming towards the line, and it's P6 for Rudy. Steven Osh has taken pole with a 25.836. 1/10 faster than Ismax. Ismax once again performing very well. Mika, Damiano, Bolin, Rudy, Tom, Modestro, Davey, and Frankie, your top 10. And we are still waiting on Joey to finish his lap. Let's go on board with Joey. What is he doing at the moment? Let's go back on board with a different driver. Joey finishes in P17 in the end, I think. Because 2 drivers have retired, and we have seemed to have lost 1 driver. So Steven Osh fastest, and a big gap between P1 and P3. P1 and P2 is actually pretty close, 1/10 in it, but over 2 temps between Steven Osh and Mika. And we expected the gaps to be a bit bigger. The gaps are definitely a bit bigger. 4 temps now, separating P1 and P8, not P12. P12 is a bit under 6 temps. It's because Santeri was disqualified that Joey is in P17. So not because we have lost 1 driver, but because Santeri has been disqualified. From the session, Letjen had a horrible run in that qualifying session. He will start in P15, it seems. And now we wait once again for the race to start. Drivers have lined up on the grid, and we have to wait 20 more seconds for the race to start. And I'm curious, who do you think is going to win this 5-lapper championship? 8 races in total we have done. Silverstone, we are underway here in Bahrain in just a few seconds time. 3, 4, 5 lights on now. Lights are out, and it's a good start for the Aston Martin. The Williams also gets away quite well. Mika already alongside Ismax for P2 in the race. Can Mika take P2 down in towards turn 1? No, he can't, but Mika is falling down the order. Steven Osh defends his lead from Ismax, Damiano MP3 battling it out with Mika, and there is a car in the wall. I think it's Modestrol who went into the wall. We have to look a little bit closer later, as looking towards the minimap, it is Modestrol, Julian, and Luca Rosman who have crashed out. Steven Osh is still leading the way from Ismax, from Mika, from Damiano in P4, Bolin, Rudy in P6, Frankie and Tom in P8. Tom really close to the back of Frankie. Can he make a move down towards turn 10? Yes, he can. Puts it out the inside. Great move from Tom, getting his way past Frankie. Frankie did definitely not expect to be overtaken there, but Tom made the move work. That was a great move by Tom. Already in P7, Tom. Legend has made a good start. He is in P14, but that is only because of a lot of drivers having had incidents at the start of the race. There's a McLaren on the left hand side. Yeah, that is Luca Rosman who has DNF'd. Also the Haas Modestrol. And only 15 runners left. Tom goes wide, keeps his car on track. Damiano now looking for the overtake on Mika. Mika is pushing a little bit as well to defend from Damiano in the Red Bull. Steven Osh will have his work cut out for him for defending this entire race against Ismax, Mika and Damiano. Not easy task here around Bahrain when on lap 3 the DRS will be activated. And the gaps all within 1 second of one another from 1 to P15. So definitely expect some overtakes to be made here on track. Really close to Bolin. Can he make a move down towards turn 10? I think he's looking for the move. He is looking for the move. Almost went for the move on Bolin. You don't see a lot of drivers making a move there, but on such a short distance race, a 5-lapper, all spots might be able, more corners, let's say it like that, more corners might be turned into overtaking positions, because you only have 5 laps to move towards the front of the field. So you have to improvise. You can't rely on those DRS zones, because there's simply not enough DRS zones to make the overtakes and fight your way to the front. So you have to make moves at rather unconventional places like turn 9 and turn 10. And we have seen Tom make that move stick at turn 10, and that was a great move by Tom. Now, on board with Ismax, because the thing is, Ismax does not have the DRS. Can he make the move on Steven Osh? No, he can't. You can see the rear wing, the big letterbox open at the rear of these cars. Bolin has lost the DRS to Damiano. 1.0 seconds is the gap. Santeri and Frankie are battling it out. The Williams on the outside. Can he make the move? Frankie! That was his own mistake. He's into the wall and out of the points paying positions in P15. That was Frankie's own mistake. Axe and Ian are also battling it out. Axe in P10. Into the points paying positions in his Ferrari. The Mercedes down towards the inside. Ian has re-overtaken Axe, and once again a move at turn 9 and turn 10. Great move by Ian. A risky move by a great move in the end. And has re-overtaken Axe for P10, the final points paying position. Damiano is looking punchy here in lap 3 of the race. As there's a yellow flag, Frankie is slowing down at turn 12, turn 13. Damiano is still looking for that move. Ismax is looking for the move, but the distance seems to be a bit too big. And Ismax is not pushing. Bolin has set the fastest lap of the race. Mika is pushing a little bit to get to Ismax's rear. Damiano once again behind Bolin. A bit further back from Damiano, and Frankie has moved in towards the pit lane. Lechen and Kaya are battling it out. Oh, Ian off track in the Mercedes, and Kaya momentarily went down the outside. And a lot of contact happening here between the two Mercedes cars and the two Ferrari cars. Mercedes versus Ferrari versus Mercedes. Two Mercedes versus each other. Side by side through through these S's, not for any points. They're only losing a lot of time to Joey in P10. Still, Joey has that time penalty, so he will lose a few positions. Kaya down the inside on Ian, has overtaken him for now. Ian off track and destroys the brake marker board, or the Palestinery board at least. Legend in P14. And we only, in just a few moments time, move on to lap 5, where it's the final opportunity for these drivers to score points. Legend is driving all over the place here. And Joey has lost a lot of time. I think Joey might have some damage, as Steven Osh has now been overtaken by Ismax. And that is the thing that we expected to happen here around Bahrain. The final opportunity, the final lap where we can see overtakes. Drivers prepare for this final lap. Just not use any ERS whatsoever, and then push all of their ERS on the final lap to make the final moves. And now defend. Ismax now has to defend against Steven Osh and Mika and Damiano. And there's only one or only two big overtaking zones, as we have seen this race. Ian has retired. Turn 9, turn 10, we don't see an overtake here. So for the final DRS zone, can Steven Osh possibly get back at Ismax? I don't think he can. This is just a bit too big. Damiano, can he make the move on Mika? No, he can't. This is too big as well. The Mercedes of Ian is retiring on the side. Axe has found his way into the points paying position with Legend side by side with him. The two IFR guys side by side in the Ferrari. Axe still in P10. And Tom off track. Oh, Tom is out. Tom crashes into the wall and is out of the race. But Ismax now finishes on top. He is in P1 with Steven Osh in P2. Ismax sets the fastest lap once again. And a great race by the Red Bull driver. Takes away 26 points once again to finish in P1. And 52 points for him now in the championship. He is on a roll. Can he possibly make it 3 out of 3 in the next race? Great race from Ismax. Steven Osh from pole position managed to finish on the podium. So a good race by him as well. But just couldn't beat Ismax here. Let's look at the top 10. Ismax takes the win around Bahrain. 26.850, his fastest lap. And that is by a distance the fastest lap. At least 2 tenths. More than 2 tenths by the looks of things. Santeri was the second quickest man on track. Coming from P18, he finished P8. But Ismax in P1, then it's Steven Osh in P2, Mika in P3. So Ismax and Steven Osh just switching positions there. And the top 6 remaining the same throughout. So Bolin in P5, Rudy in P6. Then it's N'Golo in P7. P8 for Santeri, P9 for Kaya, and P10 for Legend. The points paying positions. Axe then in P11, Joey, Tom, Ian, Frankie, Luca Rosman, Modest Stroll, Davy, Julian, and Marco in P20. Not scoring any points whatsoever. And the next track is Austria. So we wait for the Austrian Grand Prix to start. 29 points between Rudy and Ismax at the top of the championship. So Ismax looking great here to take the €20 PSN card in the end already to win this championship. But still 6 events to go. But if Ismax can keep this going, he definitely is a contender for the championship. Even if he doesn't score any points, and Rudy, his closest rival, scores 26 points, the most amount of points that you can score in one race, the gap would still be 3 seconds in favor of Ismax. So he's looking pretty good right now. Isma says, FVR Francie. Thank you. So Isma. So let's just say it like that. Isma. So not Ismax. 30 points after just 2 races is a big gap. Can any of the other drivers overcome that deficit? We will find out in just a few seconds' time, because the Austrian Grand Prix qualifying will get underway in around half a minute, when all drivers have selected their setups. And the one-shot qualifying ideal situations, where we'll see the quickest lap times possible. I think the one-shot qualifying conditions are equal to the time trial conditions, so the best possible conditions for the drivers. So we will see the quickest lap times possible. And we will get underway for qualifying now. Let's go on board with the Aston Martin of Bolin. Towards turn 1 he goes, braking around 75 meters, clipping that inside curve nicely and not invalidating his lap. Down towards turn 2, that left-hand kink on this straight, and then braking for turn 3. Braking a little bit later than usual because it's uphill around 80 meters. And nicely making that corner. He's in P2 behind Ian in the Mercedes. Down towards turn 5 he goes, braking a little bit earlier than you would expect normally because it's downhill. Then nicely on towards the power, still in P2 for Bolin. And the second sector will be 44.230 for Bolin, still trailing behind that Mercedes. And Steven Osh once again looking good. Where is our championship leader? Ismax, he's in P12, so not the best qualifying session for him. His run of wins might end here at Austria, at the Red Bull Ring. But Bolin now towards the line he goes. Will it be pole position for Bolin? It will be pole position for Steven Osh. Bolin is in P2. The two drivers just switched at the line. Steven Osh once again takes pole position for in one-shot qualifying, and he is on a roll in these one-shot qualifying sessions. So Steven Osh takes pole position, 103.401. Then it's Bolin, Santeri, Isma is in P4. Then it's P5 for Marco, P6 for Davy, Joey in P7, Angolo in P8. Then it's Modestro in P9. P10 is for Rudy in the McLaren. Exactly the same time as Modestro. And I'm curious what determines where each driver places, in what order. I expect by the 10,000s, Modestro was just a little bit faster. And we get ready for the Austrian Grand Prix. The third race in this 5-lapper event. And Isma is in P4. Definitely not out with a shot at the win here at Austria. Anything can happen. And we get underway in just 7 seconds time. The cars line up on the grid now. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on. 2 Aston Martins on the front row. It's lights out, and both Aston Martins get away well, and it looks like they will be leading down towards turn 1. But Bolin on the inside, can he take the lead? Yes, he can. Steven Osh has been relegated down to P2. Is Steven Osh under pressure from Santeri? He is really close behind the rear ring of the Aston Martin. He has to defend down towards turn 3. He doesn't and remains in P2, but it was a sandwich of Santeri, Isma and Marco at turn 3. And Marco loses out, Santeri in P3. Bolin leads from Steven Osh from Santeri. Isma has made the move stick on Santeri in P3, but now has been relegated down once again to P4. He is looking for that move on the Alpine driver. Our championship leader, 29 points in front of any driver. Bolin is in P2 and is looking for a good points haul here as well. Also, Isma going wide, probably gets a track limit there and has to watch behind for Joey here. And there is an incident between a lot of drivers. What has happened behind? A lot of drivers have crashed. Mika, Modestrol, Ian, Julian, all involved, as well as Tom. He's also involved in the incident, and he is out. Julian, oh no, crashes. Also almost out of the race and has retired from this race. So a lot of drivers involved in an incident. At the final corner now towards turn 4 we go. Marco, Rudy and Davy all within a battle of each other. Oh, that was always going to end in tears. Rudy and Marco coming together, and Davy profiting from that incident now in P7 in his Alfa Romeo. But that was all down to Rudy braking a little bit too late, going for the inside, and that caused an incident. And unfortunately that led to Ian being spun round. I think it was Ian. Now yellow sector 3 once again, and it is because of Marco. Oh sorry, it was Marco. Marco is slowing down on the main straight in P13 and is now out of the race. Ian and Mika have pitted for a new front wing, and Steven Osh makes the move on Bolin. Bolin has been relegated down to P2, and Santeri is now side by side with the Aston Martin driver. Can Bolin defend from Santeri? Steven Osh is helping Santeri a little bit with the slipstream there. Both drivers having the DRS, but Steven Osh wants to defend his position by using Santeri a little bit here. Bolin on the inside, they are still battling it out. Can Bolin hold on to P2? He has the inside now coming out of Sector 2 and still remains in P2. Great battle by Santeri and Bolin. Santeri still in P3, and Isma is looking to take that final final podium position in his Red Bull. And dearly would like to get a little bit more than a podium position and get that win here around Austria. But that might be a little bit too far-fetched for Isma. Now Santeri once again on the rear of Bolin. Bolin is pushing. Santeri is pushing. Bolin is going to make the move on Steven Osh once again. No, he remains behind his teammate. Joey and Isma are battling it out. Still side by side coming down towards turn 5 on this straight. They are slipstreaming. Joey is slipstreaming behind Isma. He goes for the inside down towards turn 5. Still side by side with the Red Bull driver, and still is behind the Red Bull driver for now, but has the outside line. Can he make a move around the outside of the Red Bull? He sticks it outside and still remains outside, and it looks like he has to get up that position. That was not going to work for the AlphaTauri driver, who has picked up a time penalty in this race and will fall down a few positions in the end. Oh, and that is not a great maneuver from Joey. It looks like he braked a little bit too much there and is now under pressure from Angolo behind in P6. Kayas is the fastest lap of the race, and already we are on the final lap and expect fireworks here between Santeri, Bolin and Steven Osh. Down towards turn 3 we go. Yellow sector 1, and that is because of Davy, who has spun around at turn 1. Bolin is looking for his final opportunity to make a move on Steven Osh. Steven does not have the DRS to use, and he does not have any ERS left whatsoever. Can Bolin move around the outside? Yes, he can. They are side by side, the Aston Martins. Bolin is still hanging on around the outside, and it looks like with the inside line he can take P1 in this race, but still Steven Osh hangs around the outside. But it is useless for Steven Osh, who has been relegated down to P2, and Bolin is looks like will take the victory here around Austria. And Santeri is looking for the move on Steven Osh as well. Can he take the position? No. Ismax will finish in P4, but winning this Grand Prix will be Bolin in the Aston Martin. Great move by Bolin on Steven Osh on that final lap, and he wins the Grand Prix. And Aston Martin 1-2 in Austria. Santeri in P3 was looking pretty racy this entire race. And P4 is for Isma. P5 for Angolo, P6 for Rudy, P7 for Legend, P8 is for Joey. He crashed out at the finish line, probably still finished in P4 or P5, but with his time penalty has been relegated down to P8. P9 is for Frankie, P10 is for Kaya. Not scoring any points, Damiano, Davey, Mika, Modestro, Ian. And we are still waiting on Mika, Modestro, and Ian to finish. And DNFing from the race, Marco, Julian, Tom, and Axe. As we still wait for the drivers behind to finish. Modestro in his Haas has now finished, and Ian, without a front wing whatsoever, is now coming towards the finish line to finish the Austrian Grand Prix. So, Bolin wins, and that decreases the gap at the top of the championship between Isma and Bolin. Still, though, those are not the only drivers in contention for the championship. I expect Steven Osh to be up there as well. Great showing from him throughout the event up till now. And the fastest lap went to a driver outside of the top 10. It went to Ian in P15. He was looking pretty pacey, but was involved in an incident and finished in P15. Qualifying did not go as planned as well for Ian. Once again, 1 and 2 have switched around in the end from the starting grid. P3 and P4 remained the same. N'Golo in P5 coming from P8. Then is Rudy, Legend, Joey, and Frankie and Gaia in the final points paying position. Let's look at the standings for now. 64 points for Isma in P1. Then 28 points down from him is Steven Osh in P2. And Bolin is in P3. So Bolin on 35 points. 31 points for Rudy in the McLaren. Hasn't had the best result of this race and has fallen down a bit. And that is your top 4 for now. Because we are within a few seconds starting the next event at the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, by the looks of things. And to all viewers of the stream, thank you for watching. We are almost 50 minutes in. And within 23 seconds we will go underway with the 4th race tonight. The 4th 5-lapper at Zandvoort. A track where it is notoriously difficult to make an overtake. So qualifying, that one-shot qualifying session, is all important here. Ferrans remarks that in these 30 races, 3 times, 3 IFR drivers, 3 FVR drivers have won. So it was Isma in the first 2 races, and then Bolin in that 3rd race in Austria. So FVR on top for now. 25 seconds before we go underway here at Zandvoort. I don't think the model in-game really represents the track in the way that it should, because in real life the elevation changes are even more dramatic than you can see on the game. Not so much in this bank corner and the Tarzan corner and all those corners, because the Hans Ernst chicane at the end of Sector 2 is actually a really banked corner, and in real life you can really see that. In the game you don't even notice that it is banked. Once again on board with Mika, but let's switch to Bolin, our race winner from Austria, because in his Aston Martin he is currently on provisional pole position. And Joey Oh no, Bolin! Oh, Bolin has invalidated his lap. And by invalidating his lap, he throws away a good finishing position here at Zandvoort, because qualifying is so important. Santeri is currently in P1 and beaten now by Tom in the McLaren. Rudy in the McLaren is also looking pretty good here. Santeri now has taken P1 back from Tom, but it is going to be really close towards the finish line. And Mika also in the mix, as well as N'Golo. Santeri is on pole position with a 109.917 and only 2 drivers in those 109s. Santeri and N'Golo in P2. Davy is in P3 with Isma in P4 once again. Then it's Tom, Mika, Rudy, Julian, Legend, and Joey. Joey was looking good, but is now in P10. Was in P2 momentarily, I think in the opening stages of the lap, but is in P10. From Joey, it is Modestral in P11, Frankie in P12, Axe probably didn't get the best lap, 1.6 seconds down from then onwards. Ian probably spun around and, well, just set a lap time for the sake of it, because it still gives him P14. Steven Osh, Bolin, Kaya have been disqualified, so they will be 15th, 16th, and 17th respectively. And Damiano and Marco haven't set a lap time. Looking at P1 to P8, all under 3 temps. So still really close between those drivers. And if this wasn't such a hard track to overtake at, we would expect a close race as well. So I'm curious to what we will see in terms of racing here. As we said before at Bahrain, moves and overtakes at rather unconventional places might be made by the drivers. Because we are in a 5-lapper, you can risk making that move here. You have to risk making that move here. 3, 4, 5 lights on for the Dutch Grand Prix. Lights are out, and it's a good start from the Haas of N'Golo. I think he's going to take the lead down towards Tarzan corner. He takes the lead of the Dutch Grand Prix. Santeri was a bit napping when the lights went out, but now takes the lead back immediately. So the Shazoo driver in P1, then it's the FER driver of N'Golo, who is in P2. Tom in P3, Davy in P4, and the Alfa Romeo, a bit of a better showing by him this time round. Isma in P5 has to settle behind Davy, can't make the move at the Schijfvlak, and Frankie out already. Mika on the rear of Isma, can he make a move? Isma is going to make the move on Davy. He went for the inside there, and those are the moves that you expect in a 5-lapper. I think Mika is on the inside. Yeah, he's on the inside as well. So drivers all making those rather unconventional moves, especially in that first lap, to get a few positions up. Modestral and Rudy are also battling it out in the McLaren and the Haas. Rudy forces Modestral wide. Rudy has taken that position. Steven Osh hasn't qualified as well as in the last few races. Ismax is going for the inside on Davy. Ismax has taken the position on Davy. Great move by Ismax at the Tarzan corner. Marco gets a 3-second time penalty. I think he's going to retire in the pit lane. Has had an incident, I think. Oh, great move by Isma. And the only thing he has to do is just score regular points. Well, enough points to remain ahead of Steven Osh and Bolin, who are not in points paying positions at the moment. So Isma is looking to extend his championship gap. His gap at the top of championship. Modestral and Rudy are also battling it out once again. Modestral in P9 still. Joey almost loses control of his AlphaTauri. Is behind Julian for now. Julian hasn't had the best races, but now he's in a points paying position, and hopefully for him he can convert that to points by the end of this Grand Prix. We are entering lap 3 out of 5, and Santeri sets the fastest lap of the race, 110.853 in the Alpine, and the DRS is now enabled. Isma is really close behind Tom, and Tom will be the first driver to make the move on Angolo if he gets the chance. Looking at the ERS of Tom, Tom has around 90% of ERS, and Angolo is using a lot of that ERS, is around 30-20% of ERS. So he might have some difficulties in keeping that McLaren at bay in the closing stages of the race. Davy is being caught by Mika in the Williams. Both Alfa Romeos on for points paying positions here. Santeri 1.5 seconds in front is looking really good here. Ian and Marco at turn 1. I think they made some kind of mistake because they are close on track and yellow flags as Modestro is out of the Grand Prix. Modestro probably made a mistake or crashed into the wall. Joey now under pressure from Rudy as Tom and Angolo are battling it out. Tom has overtaken him on that main straight. And Angolo didn't have a lot of ERS. Tom had a lot of ERS to use, and combining that and the DRS gives Tom that advantage on the straight. Now Angolo once again under pressure, but this time from Isma in the AlphaTauri, and keeps hold of that final podium position for now, but Angolo is under pressure. The AlphaTauri not trying any weird move for now. Oh, does go down the inside. Great opportunistic move by the AlphaTauri, but the Haas immediately comes back at him. Now both drivers using that DRS down towards the Amsterdam chicane. And who will come out in front? It's Angolo in front for now. It is immediately under pressure from Davy as well. 2 seconds behind Santeri and Tom. Santeri is dominating this Dutch Grand Prix. Great performance by him. Davy, can he make the move on Isma now? Isma doesn't have enough ERS to defend with. Can Davy move his way past Isma? No, he can't. He went for that outside line but couldn't make it work. Still Davy really close to the avatar. Oh, Davy making a mistake. Can Mika now make a move on Davy? No, he can't. But can he get a great acceleration out of that bank corner? No, he can't. He can't overtake Davy for now. All drivers running low on ERS. And I think Angolo is feeling the pressure. Is not taking the lines as well as he should. Letchen has DNF'd from the race. Ian has made a mistake somewhere and is in P15 still. It looks like Santeri is catching up Ian. Ian is about to be lapped. I was looking at the mini map. And at the gaps, Damiano behind Axe can't overtake Axe for now. And Isma isn't going to overtake Angolo, but Santeri, by a long distance, wins the Dutch Grand Prix from Shazoo Tom, from FVR, Angolo from Isma. Steven Osh sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix and takes away an extra point from Santeri. Davy in P5, P6 is for Mika, P7 for Julian, Joey in P8, Rudy P9, and P10 is for Steven Osh. With that extra point, 36 thousandths behind Rudy in the end. So that was close by the end of the race. And we've had 4 out of 5 races already. With this time not an FVR winner, it's Santeri who is out on top, and make that a 1-2 with Santeri and Tom in P1 and P2 for Shazoo. We are waiting just a few more seconds for Marco and for Tom. And I have no idea what they are doing. I think this situation will be under investigation by the stewards. Because they obviously should retire, or should finish as fast as possible, because this is definitely not the way to end a race. Does that Alfa Romeo actually have a front wing? No, that is Davey who lost his front wing because he spun at the finish line. Okay, Ian and Marco now. Yeah. No idea what those guys are doing, but that is definitely under investigation by the stewards, and they will determine what will happen with them. Yagizon in the chat saying Davey is noob. Thank you for that comment. But Davey actually scoring good points here today at the Dutch Grand Prix. So Santeri out on top from Tom, N'Golo, Isma, Davey, Mika, Julian. P8 is for Joey, Rudy in P9. Steven Osh in P10 takes that extra point for fastest lap as well. Just 4 100ths faster in the end than Santeri. Looking at the standings, Isma is still on top, but Santeri has the opportunity to actually take the championship lead at the next event. He only has to score a win and the fastest lap to do so. And that might not be that easy. USA, the next race. Great track in my opinion. United States of America, Circuit of the Americas. As we wait for all drivers to ready up. Golo in P3 on 41 points. 9 points behind Santeri. 35 points behind the championship lead. Also in with a shot at the championship in the end. All drivers are still in with a shot at the championship. Some have a higher chance of taking it than others. And expected some drivers to perform a lot better than they have so far. And now we will find out who will take the pole position for the United States Grand Prix. And we had a prediction in the chat, a prediction by Fancy, who will win this event, N'Golo or Kodar. I have no idea what to say. Is it N'Golo? Is it Kodar? Can you tell me that, Fancy? You have taught me how to pronounce these names throughout the races. And I have no idea how to pronounce it. I will pronounce it as N'Golo for now. And we will get on the way in 20 seconds time. Around Kota. One of my favorite tracks in Formula 1 at the moment. Great overtaking opportunities at third sector. Twisty and with a chance at making a great overtake down the inside. We'll go on board with the driver to show you exactly what we mean by that. Let's go on board with Isma. Because Isma has been quick throughout these one-shot qualifying sessions. And hopefully for him, he can show that as well here. Yagizan thinks Kodar will win, so that is N'Golo in the Haas. He's in P17 for now. And Mika is in P1 through these S's. And Bolin is switching positions with Mika all the time for now. And it looks like a great run for Isma, but does he invalidate? No, he doesn't. He's in P4 for now. Mika falling back a little bit, but Modestro now in P1 in the Haas. On towards that back straight. One of the many overtaking opportunities here around Kota. Outbraking an opponent here. in the heavy braking zone of turn 11. And Isma is in P3 for now. This twisty third sector, lining up your car for a nice overtake here at the double left-hander, reminds me a lot of the double left-hander of Bahrain. Just a little bit more open and a little bit more space for another car to go side by side. Isma losing a lot of time through the third sector by the looks of things, and Bolin is going to take pole position. Or will it be Modestrol? Modestrol takes pole position from Bolin. Took it back at that final corner by the looks of things. Modestrol is on pole in the Haas. Hasn't had the best races so far, but Modestrol now on pole position by 2.5 tenths almost. So a great margin for Modestrol at the top. And Bolin behind him. Isma close behind as well. Where is Steven Osh? I think Steven Osh has invalidated his lap. Yes, he has invalidated his lap. Will start from P19. So the chance of actually scoring good points here from P4 is almost certainly gone. So a lot of people in the chat saying that the Haas driver of Ngolo has a high chance of victory in the end. Well, if I have to bet against that, Isma is looking like the driver to beat tonight. Anything can happen, but the gap is big at the top. 26 points is the gap between P1 and P2 in the championship. Can Kodar go from P10 to P1? That is the question asked by Francie. 3, 4, 5 lights on. And the lights are out now. Modestrol gets a good getaway, but Bolin gets an even better getaway and immediately takes the lead. Has to defend against the McLaren. Even the McLaren got a better start than the Haas. And now, forced out wide Modestrol, and Tom is in P2. A car went off there at the back. It looks like it is Damiano who made a mistake, or Frankie, or both of them. Rudy also battling it out with Axe, and Axe relegated down to P8. But a good start from Bolin and a good start from Tom. Modestrol didn't get the best getaway, but puts it side by side. There, at that position, Sebastian Vettel once got overtaken by Lewis Hamilton at the start of the 2019 Grand Prix. Never expected a move to be made there in real life and in the virtual world, but we have seen a move there from a lot of drivers. Let's interrupt that. A lot of drivers are now side by side. Modestrol, Tom and Isma all side by side. Isma takes P2 going into turn 11, but all going out wide. Tom is the only driver who stayed on track there, and the Williams of Mika looking for a move on Modestrol, but had to stay behind. And there Modestrol going for the inside on Tom, exactly what we talked about in that qualifying session. Tom forced out wide. He has the inside for the multi-apex right-hander there. Oh, and they make contact. Tom is out. Oh, and he hits Mika. Mika did not get out of the way for Tom there, and he is out of the Grand Prix. It's Bolin who leads the way from Isma, from Modestrol, from Netchen. It is chaos in this race here at the start. And Kodar is already in P7. Not quite the start that he would have liked going into P1 that Francie expected, but he is in P7 already. Great start. Santeri is in P6 and Davy is in P8. So Kodar in the company of the Alfa Romeo and the Alpine driver, and certainly has to watch out from behind because Davy is looking quick throughout this first sector. Kaya 1.5 tenths behind Davy, and Modestrol no, makes a mistake from pole position, has made the mistake and is now out of the points paying position. A lot of drivers making a mistake around here, and Modestrol is one of the drivers to do so as well. Julian, Frankie, Tom, Mika all out of the race. Damiano, Steven Osh, Joey far behind the leading pack. so don't expect them to score any points whatsoever. Davy and Kaya momentarily making a little bit of contact there. Kaya as now Kaya makes a move on Davy. Great opportunistic move by the Mercedes. Can he remain in P7? I don't think he can, because Davy has that inside line for the multi-apex right-hander. Both going, oh no! Guys, what are you doing? Both drivers making contact with each other in the multi-apex right-hander. That is just shameful almost, the move that happened there. Making contact throughout that corner, ending up in tears. Rudy is in P4 behind Legend. And Bolin is in a league of his own by the looks of things. Isma in P2 is going to score some good points. Davy has DNF from the race. Thing is, Davy actually was still in P11 when he had that incident, almost in the points paying position, because all drivers behind him made even worse mistakes. I do think Steven Osh is pitting for the fastest lap of the race. That is probably his intention by the end of things. Rudy now close behind Legend. Legend going wide in his Ferrari. Can Rudy now go for the inside here? No, he won't. Distance was a bit too big. But Legend does look like that Ferrari is difficult to handle for him. So Rudy on his rear is looking for that overtake. Somewhere around the remaining 2 laps, where Rudy has to put his car in front of the Ferrari. Yellow sector 1, that is because of an AlphaTauri of Joey. Joey is going slowly once again in the S's. Has to let through the leading pack. And no overtakes here. This is just following the other car through, so following Legend through for now, and having that DRS for the back straight. And Joey nicely letting through all the cars that are now coming up. He is being yellow flagged. Legend going off track, probably got a warning for that, but no penalty whatsoever. Rudy is gaining massively, and the thing is, Legend does not have any ERS left whatsoever. Joey getting a 2-second time penalty, but he is outside of the points being position anyway, so that doesn't matter. The thing is, Legend has around 10% of ERS. Rudy doesn't have a lot of ERS as well, but he does have that DRS to use on that back straight. Legend going very wide through that right-hander every lap we get there. Don't know why he does that. But now the final lap already. Bolin leading the way from Isma. Still 1 and 2 in this race. Both FER drivers. The drivers that have won both the first 2 races and the third race. The first 2 races have been won by Isma. The third race has been won by Bolin. And I fully expect Rudy to make a move here. Jerry has joined us. And Jerry in the Mercedes has replaced Ian, who seems to have disconnected from the event. Jerry is looking for a move on N'Golo, who is currently in P6, does not have a lot of ERS left. Let's go back to Rudy though. Rudy and Legend. And there is the overtake by Rudy. And in the background, we can see N'Golo still in front of Jerry. Jerry really close to N'Golo, but they are side by side for now. And N'Golo in P6 has the position still. Can Jerry fight back? Can he switch back on the Haas driver? He gets a good exit coming out of that double left-hander, but right back right into the back of the Haas driver. Can't overtake him, but Bolin is going to take a crushing victory here at Kota and wins at the United States Grand Prix. Isma in P2, Rudy in P3 in the end, overtaken Legend on that final lap. Santeri in P5, and Golo not winning the race, but P6. Jerry in P7, Ronzeurs in P8, P9 is for Axe in the Ferrari, and P10 is for Polsit and Modestro. We are still waiting for a few drivers to finish the race. Marco Damiano and Stephen Osh, who all have to finish the race still. I think Stephen Osh is going for that fastest lap of the race, just to take it away from some of the other guys. Looking at the minimap, we can see if he is going purple. Now the second sector, he is not going purple, but he is a second faster than he was before, so he is going for that fastest lap. The second sector might have been quickest for someone who had that DRS and was using the ERS in the laps before. So now the driver had the opportunity to take the fast lap. Stephen Osh pushing in that third sector. I think he has a great shot at taking a fast lap here, and he does. Fastest lap for Stephen Osh in P13. Does not get a point for himself, but takes away points from other drivers. And that was the 5th race in the TF5 Leper event for tonight. We only have 3 races left. Bolin on top, Isma in second position, Rudy your top 3. Let's look at the standings. Isma is still leading the championship. 34 points behind him is Bolin, and Santeri is on the exact same level of points. 34 points behind the championship leader, Isma. So they are both in second position in the championship, Bolin and Santeri. From there on, it's N'Golo, who's on 49 points, 48 points. Oh, 48 points is for Rudy, 38 for Stephen Osh, Lechen on 31, then it's Mika on 23, Damiano on 20, Modestro on 19, that is your top 10. Tom is in P11, P12 for Davey, Joey in P13, 14 for Julian, Jerry is in P15 with only 1 race in front of Ronzeurs, Kaya, Frankie, Axe and Marco. Marco is the only driver to not having scored a point. Not any significant meaning in the event, but Aston Martin leads the way in the constructors' standings. They have scored good points throughout. Bolin and Stephen Osh having had good results. So that is why they are in the lead of the Constructors' Championship. Now, Event 6 takes place at Brazil. And we are waiting for the drivers to ready up once again. Only 25 seconds left until we start the next 5-lapper. And remind you, no, we are not leaving this session. Remind you, the winner of the event will get a €20 PSN card. And Isma is looking on for that victory. Bolin and Santeri are looking like the only drivers capable of challenging him. They have had some constant, let's say some constant good results. Consistent result, that was what I was looking for. Some consistent good results, but also some unfortunate mistakes, unfortunate incidents, which put them further down the order. Remember, Isma scored more than half of his points in the first 2 races alone. So he hasn't scored as much points as he should have done in the 4 events after the first 2. So after Bahrain. And hopefully for him, he can get a good result here at Brazil as well. 8 seconds before we will start this one-shot qualifying session. And thank you everyone for watching still. Let's go on board with Kodor. Spectate him now in the Alpine. Fully misses the apex down at turn 1, is in P17 because of that incident, or because of that mistake from his end. Joey is leading the way after the opening few corners. And now Kodor has to work this entire lap to just catch back up to the front of the field because of his mistake in turn 1. And once again goes deep in the infield here. So this doesn't look like a good lap from Kodor. Looks like a better lap from Mika in the Williams, as he invalidates just as we are going to him. Now Joey and Santeri are battling it out for P1 here. Just as we say that though, Bolin comes into the picture and immediately takes P1 from Joey and Santeri. So I think Bolin is going to finish in front here. And it is Santeri from Modestrol. So once again the standings moving around a little bit after the checkered flag. And Santeri takes pole position. So we talked about him putting up a championship fight against Isma. He has qualified in P5 behind Joey, his teammate. And this is the thing that he needs to do. Put his car on pole position to challenge for that victory. Looking at the standings, Bolin and Santeri are the drivers who have the highest chance of challenging Isma. Bolin is in P3. Isma is in P5, Santeri is in P1. So those consistent results still there for the top 3 in the championship. And we are waiting for the race now to start. You might have seen the races have been turned on to dry weather. And the wet weather conditions won't be seen in these 5-lapper events. Just for your information. Thank you all for watching still to the 5-lapper event. As we get underway for the 6th race around Brazil. 5 lights on and the lights are now out. It's a good start for Modestrol. Can he overtake Santeri? Looks like Modestrol has fallen a bit back though. And now in P3, Bolin has overtaken him. And Santeri in the lead of the race. So Bolin is in P2, Santeri in the lead. Joey in P4. And Isma has fallen back down to P7 on the outside now of Tom, and still in P7. And a lot of the drivers involved in incidents once again. Julian and Ngolo Kodor is in P18, and Mika also involved in an incident. And Rudy and Joey are going side by side. Can Rudy moves his way around the outside? No, he can't. Can he though? Now go for the dive bomb. Yes, he does go for that dive bomb and leaves no room whatsoever for Joey. He does leave a bit of room, but that was definitely Rudy's corner from there on. Great move from Rudy in the infield. Almost loses his McLaren car though. Tom losing out to Isma. Isma not having a good start, but now under pressure once again from Tom. After Tom made the move. Joey in P4. Tom going for the inside. Can Rudy go towards the inside as well? The two McLarens now side by side almost. And side by side for the McLaren of Tom and Isma as well. They make contact. Both keep their cars on track, but it is close between these two drivers. Can Tom go for the inside? He will go down the inside. Isma leaves himself the room, so that is good by the hands of Isma. And now the Ferrari of Lecce making contact with Isma. Isma has to score those points, has to stay within the points being position and risking those moves. Risking to stay ahead of Lecce. Lecce on the inside, now the outside line for the next corner. Oh, forces Isma wide. Isma onto the grass, goes down the inside now. They make contact, Isma and Legend, and Davy takes away P7 out of nowhere. Davy comes into the picture. Isma losing out once again, and now in P10. Damiano has overtaken him as well. All is breaking loose here in lap 2 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Axe and Kaya are also battling it out on track. Looks like Axe is being overtaken by Frankie as well here. Yes, Frankie in the slipstream of Kaya. Now down towards turn 1. Oh, Frankie braking a little bit too late. And Axe takes back that position in P12. Frankie also with a 2-second time penalty. Is Bolin out of ERS already? Bolin out of ERS already? That is not a situation that you want to find yourself in. So Bolin out of ERS. How is Santeri doing with ERS? Almost out of ERS as well. Modestro is around 60%. So he does have a lot of ERS to use on Bolin. Bolin gaining back that ERS a little bit in the middle sector in the infield here. But I think not enough to defend against Modestro for the upcoming 2 laps. Gaia and Axe battling it out once again. Frankie involved in that battle as well. Gaia losing out a little bit. Frankie now, can he make that move on Axe? As Modestro and Bolin were battling it out. Modestro, yeah, he has now overtaken Bolin. We were looking at that battle just a few seconds ago, saying that Bolin does not have the DRS, the ERS to defend with. And Modestro took the opportunity and moved his way past Bolin. Meanwhile, Kodor in P16 says the fastest lap of the race. Has pitted most certainly. No, I don't think he has pitted. He actually has the pace to actually drive some very fast lap, but is in P16. Does not score any points whatsoever with that fastest lap. Unfortunately, was involved in an incident at the start. 2 McLarens behind one another on track. P5 and P6 for both. Rudy close to Joey. Joey having that DRS, but Rudy is pushing his ERS to make a move on Joey. Looks like he can't make the move work. Joey is also running out of ERS, and Joey goes wide, misses the apex for the left-hander for turn 1. And now once again his rear light blinking. Joey going for the inside line, now moving back on towards the racing line because he does not have to defend against Rudy. Joey now once again losing his rear. Look how close Rudy is. Oh, Rudy faking the move. And can he now finish it off? No, he can't. But this is going to be a difficult job for Joey to keep Rudy at bay. I don't think he can manage that for this final lap. We are already on the final lap. Sorry, I thought we were on lap 4, so every chance here for Joey to keep hold of P4. Tom gets a 2-second time penalty for track limits. I don't think Rudy has the opportunity to make the move. But Santeri now towards the finish line. He comes and he wins here at Sao Paulo. Modestro is in P2 with Bolin in P3, Joey in P4, Rudy in P5. Tom with that time penalty has fallen down the order. Davy in P6, Legend P7. P8 is for Isma, scoring some points, but not as much as he would have liked to. Now, the championship standings look a bit more competitive for the championship lead. That was something. But let's just skip that and move on to the standings. We only have 2 races left. In a few moments we will see what that 7th race will be. And let's go to the standings. Isma still leads the way, but 13 points behind now. Santeri. Bolin also made up some points on Isma, but lost the position to Santeri in the end. In P3 now, Bolin. 23 points behind the championship leader. Rudy in P4. P5 is for Ngolo. P6 is for Steven Osh. P7 for Modestro. P8 for Legend. P9 for Mika. P10 for Damiano. And 11 on points with Damiano is Davy in the Alfa Romeo. Then P12 for Joey. P10, P13 for Tom. Julian in P14. And then it was Jerry van Bussel in the Mercedes in P15. The next track will be Hungary. And Hungary is actually a very difficult track, just like Zandvoort, to overtake at, so qualifying will be all important. Once again. We will see who will take that pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Just a few moments time, which will be all important. So Santori might want to get that pole position as well if he wants to put up that championship battle with Isma, and that is now a very real possibility, that championship battle happening, because Santori gained a lot of points back in that Brazilian Grand Prix by winning the Grand Prix. We are still waiting for the drivers to pick their strategies, sorry, not their strategies, their setups. And this will all lead up to the all-important final Grand Prix, round 8 of the event. Remember that Isma can clinch the championship here and take that €20 PSN card if he gets the win. But therefore, he has to score a pole position, or at least a good qualifying position first. Bolin is leading the way after turn 1. Let's turn on the telemetry and lap data. We appear to have lost 3 drivers in the process, because we only have 17 runners here at Hungary. And let's look where Santeri is. Santeri is in P5, whereas Isma is in P9. Bolin is still in that championship fight. Axe has retired from the session. Once again, Tom has retired, Jerry has retired. They will start P17, 16 and 15 respectively. Modestro once again on for a good qualifying result if he can keep his lap going. Bolin is in P2, Modestro in P1. Let's go on board with the Haas driver. And he has invalidated. What a timing! Now let's go back to Bolin. And Isma has actually caught up to Bolin, and Santeri is in P3. The championship leaders in P1, 2 and 3. And that is the order that they finish in. But I think Isma got the pole position in the end. Isma got the pole position in the end. Yeah, he did. 23 thousandths between him and Santeri. And between Santeri and Bolin, it's only 52 thousandths. So really close behind the top 3 in the championship. Isma has the opportunity to clinch the championship here. So stay tuned for the final real championship battle race, possibly, here at Hungary. Now, behind Ronzeurs in P10, P11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 have all been disqualified or haven't set a lap time because they have invalidated the lap times. So a lot of invalidations. Ronzeurs just needed to complete his lap to be in P10. Wasn't the quickest lap of all, but just needed to complete it. And in just a few seconds time, we might see the start of the championship winning race, or the event winning race for ISMA. 20 seconds left before we start this race. Let's look at the championship standings before we start. No, we can't here. We can't see the championship standings here. So we will do that after this race. Everyone has ready up and we are almost going on the way. 5 lights on now. And the lights are out. Julian gets a drive-through penalty. He went onto the power just a little bit too early. It's a good start from Isma, who immediately goes to cover off Bolin and Santeri. Isma into the lead. The Aston Martin of Bolin wants to go into P2, but I think Santeri just got the better drive out of turn 1. But Bolin now forces his way past Santeri and now is in P2. Santeri is in P3 with Davy. Good start from him in P4. Damiano in P5. Stephen Osh in P6. Frankie did not have a good start and has spun out in his McLaren car. And by the looks of things, if this will be the order they finish in, Isma will claim the championship. But things definitely aren't done as of yet. Yellow sector through, that is because of Ranzers in the Red Bull. He has retired as well as Frankie. He has retired as well. Tom, a bit further down. I think he's falling back due to damage because he's losing a lot of time through that middle sector and that third sector. Julian and Jerry. Julian does have damage, I think. Is going into the pit lane. Isma sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix because he's the first one to set a lap time. Julian has retired, had to serve his drive-through, but a drive-through in a 5-lapper, it's impossible to get back. So he retires in the pit lane. Kaya Modestro battling it out. Oh, there's contact between Kaya Modestro and Kaya out. Oh, what a crash for the Mercedes driver. After a moment of contact between Modestro and Kaya, Kaya is out of the Grand Prix. Tom still running. Looks like he has left the session because his car is invisible. Damiano gets a 2-second time penalty. Santeri still behind Bolin. Bolin's still behind Isma for now. We have Davy clinging on nicely in P4. Rudy and Stephen Osh. Stephen Osh finding his way through on Rudy and is into P6. Still no DRS for the drivers. Isma once again sets the fastest lap of the race. And from now on, the DRS will be enabled. Because of the detection point being at the end of sector 3, the driver who gets the DRS on the main straight also gets the DRS coming down towards turn 2 and 3. So no DRS there for Bolin. Santeri, we're really close to Bolin here. Can't make the move on the Aston Martin. If those two are going to battle, that will definitely give the victory to Isma. So Bolin and Santeri don't need to battle here. They just need to follow, try to overtake Isma. That is what they're trying to do. But Isma is looking very strong around Hungary here. And he's already almost out of the DRS range. It is lap 3 out of lap 5. 2 laps remaining. 2 laps with Bolin and DRS usage enabled. So Bolin is hoping now with the DRS to come a bit closer towards the rear of Isma. How much ERS does Isma have? Isma almost at 80% of ERS. So has a lot of ERS to use. Legend has retired, is in P12. And has retired because of a crash down at the final corner by the looks of things. Bolin now really close to the AlphaTauri. Has caught up massively with that DRS, but now the twisty second sector is coming up. I expect him to lose a bit of time once again there. Nicolo and Rudy are battling it out. Oh, side by side on this long right-hander. Still side by side. And the McLaren in the end taking the position. Didn't see the entire battle there. But in the end, Rudy took the position. Axe getting a 2-second time penalty. Axe is in P10, will lose out 1 position to Jerry. Jerry will get the final points being positioned then. It's more likely for Santeri, I think, to get the position than to Bolin to get the move on Isma. And this is for the championship. Bolin is pushing all that he can to catch up to Isma, but Isma is looking too strong here around Hungary. His pole position put him in a place where he only had to get a good start and lead the field away from start to finish. We are on the final lap, and by the looks of things, Isma is taking this victory as if nothing weird happens here. And that will give the championship and the 20 euro PSN card to Isma, but nothing is done as of yet. Still, there are a few more corners to go, and Isma still can make a mistake and still can get a time penalty, which will put him in a situation where the 20 euro PSN card might slip out of his hands still. Steven Osh has picked up a 2-second time penalty for multiple track limits. Bolin isn't able to catch up to Isma. Isma is looking to get that victory here around Hungary. He is going to take the victory around Hungary and sets the fastest lap in the process. Isma wins around Hungary and he wins the championship. Event 3 has been won by Isma, and a great race from him to seal that championship. Only one more race to go. Modestro gets the Driver of the Day award from the game. But he wins around Hungary today. Isma is the victor and is the winner of the 20 euro PSN card. We only have one more race left. 15.904 in the end for Isma for the fastest lap. Once again by a long shot. That is the fastest lap. Only driver to manage to go into the 115s. So, great lap by him. Let's look at the standings. Oh, actually, wow, I was a bit too quick there. I'm just doing the math a little bit here. I thought that Isma took the lead. Well, that is stupid for me to say. Isma is not the victor of the championship still. He's 24 points in front of Santeri. The thing is, Santeri can only win the championship if he wins. And if Isma doesn't score any points. That is not a huge chance, but still, that is a chance. Nonetheless, we have one more race left, and Isma hasn't won the championship as of yet. I really thought that he did win the championship. But he is still not the victor. Santeri has a chance of winning this still. 14 drivers left. I think some drivers are leaving here because they don't think they have a chance of winning. No, you don't have a chance of winning, but you have entered an event, and we really appreciate it if you finish the event with us. We are getting underway for the final one-shot qualifying here. So 2 drivers in with a shot at the 20 euro PSN card. We are still waiting for the drivers to select their setups for the final race here around the Algarve circuit. 20 seconds, 26 seconds left for the drivers to select their strategies. Probably they will select it a bit sooner, and we would get underway a bit sooner than expected. If you are still watching, thank you for tuning into the live stream. And we are getting underway now for the final one-shot qualifying session. It is very important for Santeri to qualify in the top, and for Isma to score a good enough qualifying result from where he can get a few points, which should be enough for the victory in the championship. Not a great run through that first sector for Santeri. Actually, he's in P14 now. Oh, has Isma invalidated? No, he hasn't. Just had a bad first sector, so Isma and Santeri are down. The only thing that Isma has to do is score at least 2 to 3 points to win the championship, and it does not look like he will finish inside the top 10 for qualifying. Julian has retired. Santeri is actually in P12. And that is a bit of luck for Isma that he is in P12, because that is the only man that can challenge him for the victory here in the championship. Davy is actually leading the one-shot qualifying session. Now Modestrel has taken that lead and is now only the run towards the finish line. Davy, Steven Osh, Angolo, Damiano, all drivers in with the shots for pole position. And it is Davy who takes it, 16.1. So pole position for Davy. And in the end, I think Isma and Santeri qualified almost next to one another on track. No, Santeri did a 17.0, so is in P10. Isma is in P7, 16.7. And it does not bode well for Santeri in P10. And things are looking better here for Isma. Looking at the standings, Isma is leading. 24 points behind him is Santeri. Bolin wasn't able to put up the championship challenge in the end, but is 31 points down from Isma as we get underway for the final Grand Prix. 22,000 in the end between Davy and Steven. Really close between them. Just 28 seconds before we start this final race. And I'm more looking forward to a winner of the race for the racing in this final race, because I think some drivers will go all out for this final race around the Algarve circuit here in Portimao. 3, 4, 5 lights on. Can Davy defends against Steven going into turn 1? It's lights out, and Davy gets a good start, and Steven Arsh is not able to put up the challenge down towards turn 1. And the McLaren of Angolo is in P3 and has spun round. Angolo is around and out of the points paying positions on Terry in P13. Where is Isma? Isma is in P4. Great start by him. Letchen and gets a 2-second time penalty, and Steven Osh has spun around and is out. He has left the session. Isma going a bit wide because he is side by side with Frankie. Isma now in P3, will clinch the championship as it stands. Santeri is not in the lead of the race, he's in P12, and that means Isma is on for the win in the championship. So a 2-second time penalty already for Letchen in P9. Davy is already a second away from P2, Rudy, because of all those incidents happening behind him, Stephen Osh making a mistake, and that will prove crucial that DRS break away. 1.2 between him, between Davey and Rudy. Rudy driving with a yellow and blue helmet, probably the flag of Ukraine inspired that helmet design. 18.240, fastest lap of the race for Davey. Isma is looking to make the overtake already. Can Isma put up a challenge for the win here? He didn't have a great qualifying, but does he have the pace here in the race? Rudy is a really fast driver, but Isma has proven that he is up for the challenge and he can take on these drivers. Stephen Osh is into the pit lane. Probably once again will change his tires to go for the fast lap of the race in the end. Difficult corner here to go into the power. You can just see the AlphaTauri snapping the rear away. Halting a bit of a wider line going into that right hander there at the top of the hill. Davey 1.1 ahead of Rudy. Rudy not gaining any time whatsoever through that second lap around Portimao. Modesto in P10 wasn't looking on for a good result in qualifying. I think that he invalidated his lap on the exit of the final corner. Modesto now sets a fast lap of the race, 17.267, indicates that he has a lot of pace to use, but can't use it against any other drivers because he is just in P10. Julian in P8 is looking at the rear of Yeti. Isma is looking at the rear of Rudy. Rudy does not have any ERS lap whatsoever. His light was blinking in the end. And Kodar, Golo and Salteri. Salteri as DNF from the race was involved in an incident between him and the McLaren. And that means the winner of the championship, we are on board with him right now, is Isma. He wins the 20 euro PSN card, but we are in lap 3. And still, we are battling it out here at Portimao. I think Isma has a great chance at overtaking already here. Let's just enjoy the racing for these final 3 laps because the championship has been decided already. A winner for this week is Isma. And the AlphaTauri now with the DRS to use. Can he overtake the McLaren? I think he easily can do so. Though the AlphaTauri of Isma does not have any ERS lap whatsoever as well, looking at his steering wheel. So, he might have a difficult task here at keeping Rudy behind him. Funky behind them. Does not have a lot of ERS as well, is also blinking. Axe is in a good position. P5 is now under pressure from Bolin behind him. Bolin, can he move around his way around the outside of the hairpin? Is forced out wide by the Ferrari and now has overtaken Axe outside of the track. I think he'll have to give that position back if the game has noticed that. Bolin might get a penalty for that, but I don't think he is getting the penalty for that. Oh, now Axe, down the inside he goes. Great move by the Ferrari, and now Bolin actually went off track and got the penalty. They are forcing each other off the track once again, and every time they are involved in a battle, they force each other off the track. The IFR and the FVR drivers. Now actually gets that all important DRS to use. Rudy actually can't get back at Isma. And it's the final lap of the Grand Prix. Davey has come out of nowhere actually to take that pole position and to dominate here at Portimao. If he could have done so for the rest of the other races, a bit more consistent results, he should have been up there in the championship. I expect him in one of those 5-lap events to get up there, but he is now down in the standings and he'll gain a few places, but nonetheless he can't challenge Isma because he has already won. Stephen Osh has been lapped here in the Aston Martin. and he lets through the other drivers of the leading pack. Rudy is now in the rear of Isma. Can he possibly make a move on Isma on the final straight? I don't think he can. Distance is just a bit too big for a move to be made, and the DRS will only be gained by the drivers at the finish line. Davy wins, Isma is second, and he wins the championship. Rudy is third, Frankie is fourth, you're top four. Axe scores a nice P5. And that is the end of the 5-lap championship for tonight. The race at Portimao was won by Davy, but the championship was won by Isma. Isma gets 20 euros worth of PSN cards, and he wins event number 3. Let's look at the final standings here. Isma wins 41 points ahead of Bolin in the end. Santeri by his DNF gets relegated down to P3. Rudy is P4. P5 is for Davy with his victory at Portimao, 59 points in the end. Almost scored half of his points at Portimao. Modestro is in P6, P7 for Angolo, P8 is for Stephen Osh, P9 for Legend, P10 for Damiano. Thank you all for joining us in this 5-lap championship, and we hope to see you again next time when we do another one of these 5-lap events. Thank you, and we hope to see you again.